Back at it again. Thursday. Today's Thursday, Throwback Thursday. We got a special treat in the making. Coach T. Will, Trey Williams in the building. I got Coach Johnson, Rodney Johnson, and the J stands for what, Coach?
Just because it's going to be a good day, this is Throwback Thursday. We got a lot of good news before we get our special guest on, so let's get it rolling.
Before we actually really get started, man, if for the live people, man, share the show if you can, so we can get it out because we want everybody to see what we have going today. So, Coach Jermaine, you able on your end to share the show, and let's get going. So, what's going on today, Coach?
Well, actually, it's Throwback Thursday, and we just kind of go down the list and just what I'm thinking today. You know, we always start the show. What are you thinking today? So we can get it rolling. When you think about throwback, you think about when you had that box in your head and that fade, that hot cut fade. But it's been a long time since you had a fade.
Man, don't do me like that. It's been a long time since I had a fade, but I never had a box fade. I ain't that old. That was your era.
Hey man, I'm glad to be my age. Just put it that way.
Yeah, I didn't. My generation, we didn't have the box fades.
Right,
Shags. Well, I think y'all started Shags, but no, man, no. Throwback
no,
Thursday.
don't say that with y'all. Anyway,
Y'all era started that.
It's
When
all
you talk
good,
about
man.
Throwback Thursday or Throwback, the first thing for whatever reason, I guess because is our special guest coming on, it makes me think about Carter football. I mean, even though I know our special guest didn't coach at Carter, but it makes me think of Carter football. I just thought about that movie for some reason. How what's the movie called? Is it called Carter? Carter football? What's that movie called they made about it?
Well, Carter, they got various moves, but Carter, yeah.
Yeah, so when you talk about the box phase, that's what I thought about. The box phase and the whole movie. Because Thursday, man, so NFL tip off today. NFL tipping off today. No new week, not tipping off, kicking off, but it's kicking off with a new week with the Giants and the Redskins. Who you got tonight on that one?
I got an upset. I'm gonna take New York tonight.
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I'm gonna take New York tonight.
What's going on? What else going on, man? Hey, did you share the show though? Did you share the show?
Yeah, it's going to be shut out on this day. Speaking of the Redskins, on this day, since we on Throwback, right?
Right.
And this day, September the 16th, 1962, the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins went on a 35-35 tie, one of the first ties in NFL history. On this day, September the 16th, since we're on Throwback Thursday, right?
Throwback
Thursday. I had to
Thursday.
share that since we were talking about the Cowboys. Then also this. Even though it's not Metroplex, Notre Dame, number 2 Notre Dame beat number 1 Notre Dame beat number 2 Michigan, 24-19 in Ann Arbor. Rocket Ishmael, former Cowboy, that's why I brought this in because he's a former Cowboy. They beat them. He had a couple of return kicks, and then also on this day, and then they kind of get away, and we're gonna get ready to get our special guest on since we're kind of running a little bit late. Is the Sugar Hill Gang. Since we want to go back to how old you are and how old I am, the Sugar Hill Gang released their album. The first hip hop album came on September 16th, 1979. I was 4 years old.
Well, you really did some research. Man.
I mean, why are we gonna have a show when we don't do research?
You're right.
We're just gonna talk out beside our net.
No, you're right.
But
you're right.
When the guests we bring on, y'all want to talk all this stuff. He's gonna give you the research and the history, by the way. So I'm gonna leave it alone.
Well, let's go ahead. You ready to go ahead and do it? You ready to get this thing jumping?
Let's dive on in it, man. Because hey, this is Throwback Thursday. Might as well go on and bring them on in.
Well, we're gonna go ahead and bring them on in, man. Throwback Thursday, man. Obviously they say Dallas, Texas now is the new mecca of basketball, and there's a lot of history that's been played up 20 West and 20 East, 35, whatever. It's been a lot of history. And further ado, we do have of course, a Hall of Fame high school coach who is the father of Coach Rodney Johnson and Coach Snoop Johnson and their older brother, Roderick Johnson. We have the Hall of Fame, Mr. Coach Goree. Coach Johnson. Coach Johnson, can you hear me?
I hear you. How you doing?
How you doing? It's a pleasure. It's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us today. See you out there getting some sun, getting some good sunshine.
Yeah, I'm just sitting back here on my back patio relaxing.
Well, man, let's go ahead and dive into it. For those who don't know you, can you kind of just introduce yourself? I mean, I know if anybody's a basketball fan in Dallas, Texas, or Dallas Fort Worth, period, they should know who you are. But for the ones who don't know you, can you kind of give an introduction about yourself and the things that you have done and how long you've been coaching and things like that?
Well, let's start out from my day that when I was in college. I played for Bishop College back in the day from 1962 through 1966. Came back and I started my coaching career at O'Banion School, and from there I went to Wilmer Hutchin, and from Wilmer Hutchin on back to Garland High School and coaching career at high school. From there I went on into administration. Yeah, then I went on into administrative athletic director for 14 years. Proud of that, and a lot of my players have gone proud of that, and that's it. And that's about it.
Trey, is our connection kind of bad, or are you getting the same feed that I get?
I'm getting the same thing. I don't know if it's on the cellular device. I know sometimes if you're on a cellular device, it would do things like that. Okay. I don't know if he's not on the iPad but we caught a little bit of it.
I'm not coming in good.
We can revisit it. It's not a problem. Yeah, we good.
It's not lost.
Yes, I'm not coming in good.
I think what happened is, you was kind of going after O'Banion Middle School in Garland, kind of lost you a little bit. So if you can go revisit back on your O'Banion days, your Garland days, and so they can know.
Okay, like I said, I started out in O'Banion Middle School in 1973, and from there I went to Wilmer Garland High School, stayed in Garland High School and for about 6-7 years, and from there I went to Roosevelt High School. Roosevelt 4 years, and Roosevelt to Kimmer High School. I was at Kimmer High School 8 years. I won my 2 state championships at Kimmer High School, 1976 and 77. From that, I went on administration for 14 years. I retired in 2014, and here I am.
Here you are. So we I always joke with the other Coach Johnson, Rodney. I always joke about how my alumni school is going to be catching up to Kimball pretty soon. I know Kimball got 6 rings all together. Am I saying that right? They got 6 rings, or does a family have 6 rings together?
Well,
I have 2, and like coach.
Right.
That's it.
We're getting a bag in this. We're going in and out.
Yeah, Dad, you might have to move around a little bit, stand up, or go out, in the backyard because your connection is bad. I know sometimes AT&T might have a little bad connection. Nothing against AT&T, but people with the viewers want to hear what you have to say because it's throwback, and I know Clay has a lot of questions.
I was in my backyard. That's where I was at.
Well, that's probably where you got to stay. But I'm saying you probably have to move around. Maybe you under the shade or something.
Can you hear me?
But it's cutting in and out.
Not quite. It's freezing up.
It's just freezing up. That's all. We can hear you, but it's freezing.
Yeah, it froze up.
But moving forward, Coach, before we get my pop's connection back right and things like that, moving forward, yeah, I mean, this is a special day, not just for you know. I know you got a lot of questions about the Fort Worth Dunbar and Kimball and the Dallas and the Fort Worth matchups. I know you're a historian when it comes to sports, and you digging in brains. Like I know you dug in me, Snoop, and Easy's brain, and a lot of people's brains about stuff. But you know, if you're gonna dig in our brain, this is the person that you need to dig in because everything that we got and we learned from our pops, and you know, and that's just the bottom line.
So
So I think we got to, I think we got
I
the
think Coach
connection back
Johnson's
right.
connection is better. I think it look like it's better. I think you're
Can
good,
you hear
Coach.
me better now?
We can hear you.
How about now?
It's good.
Yeah,
It's
we can hear
good.
you. You good.
Okay.
You're good. So let's jump right back into it. Kimball, Dallas Kimball. Obviously, you know, I grew up in Arlington, and I mean, and you know, unfortunately, like the city of Arlington itself, we never really have a historical rich basketball program. So the closest to us was Fort Worth Dunbar. So obviously, you know, Fort Worth, when you talk about Fort Worth basketball at the time, Fort Worth Dunbar was the face of Fort Worth. So it's the same thing as I'm hearing, like the Lincolns and the Dallas Kimballs was the face for you know, Dallas altogether. That first state championship that you won, do you remember exactly who? I mean, obviously you probably know who you beat, and can you just talk about, you know, the guys on that roster who you had and the experience of getting, you know, and the road and the journey to getting that first state championship?
Yes, that first state championship I had. Matter of fact, my starters was 3 juniors and 2 seniors, and my backup was 4 seniors and 1 junior. We beat Euless Trinity for the state championship, and it's a coincidence. We was in a warm-up game out in Arlington the week before that, and we drew them to you know, in that warm-up game that day. And I told the guys, I said, we're going to play everybody. You know, this is a warm-up game. We're going to play everybody and get a good look at a lot of guys, and a lot of guys get a lot of experience, and win, lose, or draw. You know, it doesn't matter. And we were going down to the wire, and I put another group in there, and some of the starters got upset with me because I did that because they really wanted to win the game, and we lost the game, I think, by 2 or 3 points. But anyhow, come up to the state championship game. That night in the locker room, I told the guys, I said, well, you remember we played those guys in the warm-up game? I told y'all that we might see those guys again, and we don't want to show them everything. And here we are right here now. We're finna meet them again. I said, now you can go ahead and do your thing. So we went on out there, and we did what we were supposed to do, and we beat Euless Trinity. In that ball game, it was, you know, it was almost like white against black. It was nationwide. That game kind of showed all those, you know, all up in Washington, D.C. Some people told me they saw that game. And it was just like the black was pulling for me and the white was pulling for the white. So it was almost a black and white thing. But we won
when
the
you
game.
say Euless Trinity, that is shocking because they known for football. I ain't never known Euless Trinity to ever go to a state title for basketball. So that,
Yeah.
I mean, I thought you was gonna say like maybe Houston Yates or Houston Madison or something like that. When you talk about Euless Trinity, all I think is football. So that's
Remember I showed you the picture when I took the picture with what's the kid that plays for the Indiana Pacers now?
Miles Turner.
Yeah, Big Miles Turner. It just happens out there. That same year, by the way, I was looking up some research. Dallas Lincoln lost 59-68. Oh no, I'm sorry. Madison lost to Tampa Arthur 82-68. Kimball won 72-64 against Euless Trinity that year.
So talk about the following year. Was the following year? Was that a back-to-back year, or was it later, or what? Or did you win that second title years later?
No, it was back-to-back. The second year we played North Shore out of Houston there. And North Shore had a team that they ran 2 units, and first and second team. And just so happened we had been doing that all year. And that's what we did. And I told those guys that was on my second unit, I said, hey, you might be called on one day to win a state championship. And during that game, when they put that second 5 in there, I put my second 5 in there. And we held them to 0 points, and they held us to 2 till they put their starters back in there. We just went from there.
So So obviously, Dallas Kimball Knights. Let's talk about those wars. I mean, one of the things, and I'm gonna ask you some more questions. I want to get your thoughts on, some of the players that went through there and things like that. But one of the wars that I wanted to wait to ask, but I want to ask it now. Obviously, again, I go right back to Dunbar. That was one of the schools that I used to kind of look up to. I admired the crowd, the basketball program. Obviously, if you coach against them, you probably coach, I guess, maybe against more, better players that other people would say from that program. But when they had the Jeremy Smith, the Chris, the Lance Jacksons, how was those wars? How was those wars, Coach Johnson
that's not a
versus
good
Coach
question because
Smith?
the thing is, he wouldn't know about Germans.
Well, no. I'm saying I know he
wouldn't.
wouldn't know about Germans. I'm saying that's where I know Dunbar. So I'm just asking overall, how was those wars for Coach Johnson versus Coach Hughes? Because obviously I wish I could have been there to seen it, but talk about those experiences. Talk about the crowd. Was it electric? Things like that.
Right. It was Coach Hughes and I. We played each other each year, and always played him in that tournament over there. The Fort Worth Gent used to always have Super 8. Always played him, and I remember one year when Jason Sasser was a senior. We played him over there, and I had all those juniors that I inherited when I first went to Kimmel, and when they were seniors, and we played them over there, and they beat us. So Dunbar beat us that day in the championship. So I told my guys, all of them, I said, hey, everybody lay your uniforms in the middle of the floor here, and I'm going to meet with each one of y'all on Monday individually and tell you whether or not you remain on this team. And they did, and we met that Monday, and I met with each one of them individually. And out of those seniors I had on the team, I only kept 2. That was Jason Sasser and another guy named Joe Pleasant. I kept those 2, and I moved up all my juniors and sophomores. So we played Dunbar that following week at Sprague, and we beat Dunbar, same team that beat us over there in the tournament with all those seniors I had. And we beat Dunbar at Sprague that night. Jason Sasser scored, I think, about 50 points, 52 points.
60.
50.
Something like that. I know over there in Fort Worth when we played them, they didn't want to give Jason the ball like I told them all the time, and they wanted to shoot. They were just jacking up bricks. So, I knew that wasn't what direction we wanted to go. And that just wasn't my style of play. And I got rid of them, and we went on better from there.
Wow. So obviously, okay. So, and obviously you still keep up with, I'm pretty sure you still, well, I know you still follow Kimball when your son, Coach Snoop, was coaching. So I guess you got to see the other players like, the AC Law, the Keith Frazier's, the Quentin Ross. Who coached Quentin Ross? Was it Snoop or did you coach him, Coach Johnson?
I coached him 1 year. Snoopy coached him the rest of the way. I coached him 1 year.
So the tradition, in your, who was probably what year or what class was probably the best team that go through Kimball?
That's a hard question. Well,
if you had to pick one,
Gerald Sasser's class. I think they had the most athletes in that class. Because, like I said, the first championship we won, we had 3 juniors that were starting on that team: Brandon Burnett, Calvin William, and Gerald Sasser. So I would say that probably was the best class I think that I coached at Kimball. I had some more good players, classes that come through there, but I would say Jason Sasser, Gerald Sasser class was about the best class that I coached. I met Kimball.
And as far as so would you consider Gerald Sasser probably like one of the best ever to walk through Kimball too? Or has there would you put is it hard between him, the AC Laws, Quentin Ross, Keith Frazier's? I mean, there's been a lot of talent walk through that hallway. They have a star right now in Terrio Morris, who I think, me and Coach Johnson, Rodney, we debated about this a couple of years ago, who I think that's going to be a top 3 Kimball player of all time, in my opinion.
But you debate me because the thing about it is this is why it's throwback. I keep telling you debate. At Kimball, it's certain schools that it's hard to debate these questions. There's been so many great players that came through here. I mean, we can go all the way back to when Coach Jimmy Tubbs was coaching. I keep telling you this. So to put a person now, the question is, who is the best player you coached? Like, I know hands down, I know the two best players I know he coached. I'm gonna let him answer. I'm talking about from Garland to Kimball. I know two best players.
And I hear you, but that's what makes debates. That's I mean, listen, if you're not number one, you're number two.
You make it too complex.
If you're not number one, number two, it's just like when people ask people the question, who's the greatest NBA player of all time? I mean, I know people gonna throw up Kobe, Magic, LeBron, whatever, Jordan. We have to pick one. It has to be one special one that walked through there.
We got too many players. You got too many players. So you ask Coach Johnson at Garland to Kimball, who was the best? I guarantee you he'll answer that question.
Go ahead, Coach Johnson, answer that for me.
Ricky Pierce.
There you go.
Ricky Pierce was probably the best. But it was a lot of great players other than him that I coached. You know, Jason Sasser.
Coach Johnson, speaking of Jason Sasser, guess who just logged in the building?
Who's that?
Jason,
right on time. The ears must have been burning.
Let's talk about your 60-point game.
He was a war horse. Jason was a war horse, you know. I can tell you that right now. He was a team player, you know. So, you know, he shared the ball. He shared the ball, and
no, he didn't. No.
He did. He shared the ball with other players, what made him great.
No.
Hey, Coach Sasser. I appreciate you. Hold on, Rodney. Hey, Sass, appreciate you joining us. Before we get to talk about more basketball, I also want to commend you, man. You did a good job a couple of weeks ago at East Service, man. Just want to let you know that from from me to you. By the way,
I appreciate that. Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah, man, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it was a great celebration, man.
So we talking about. So for me, again, go ahead, Coach Rodney.
For all this listeners, it's Throwback Thursday. We got Jason Sasser, we got Coach Goree Johnson on. Jason Sasser just joined. We're on Throwback Thursday. We are going to get into the minds of two legends, two great coaches and two great players, and a great coach too, former coach at Red Oak. Jason Sasser just joined the show. We got great things coming up. All right, we can continue now.
So, Saz, I'm trying to learn my history. You know, obviously, out of everybody on the screen, I'm the youngest one. I guess I'd be considered the new school. So I'm trying to. I never knew that you had dropped 50 or 60 some points in one game and things like that. I'm still trying to learn from Coach Johnson, who's the one of the greatest teams, the greatest players, things like that. Rodney's telling me you really can't pick one because there's a lot of talent that came through and things like that. And today's Throwback Thursday, you know, obviously, yeah. And this is a question I'm gonna ask Coach Johnson, the legendary Coach Johnson, not that Coach Johnson over here, but the legendary Coach Johnson. Question I'm gonna ask him, I'm gonna ask you about like today's era, today's game. So we can jump right to it. Coach Sasser, I mean, obviously you coached at Red Oak, you played at Kimball, play high level ball. Believe your brother played in the NBA, correct? If I'm not mistaken, or a cousin, something like that.
Nixon too, right?
Yeah, I played in the NBA also.
Okay, yeah, okay. So about today's game, I mean, far as can you compare from when you played back in the day? How it's a lot different from today's era? Yeah,
I'm gonna be a bad guest right now because you guys were in the middle of a conversation. If you allow me, I definitely like to come back to that. But Coach Goree Johnson was making a great point, and Jermaine Johnson had cut him off. I wanted him to finish his thought as far as he was saying. Jason Sasser did share the ball, and I don't think Jermaine Johnson understands what he was really talking about. So, Coach Johnson, if you don't mind elaborating on that, and then I'm gonna come back and follow up, and then question.
What I was saying, my system was to put the ball in the best player's hand. That was just my system. I didn't believe in just anyone jacking the ball. And at that time, like I said, when I coached Jason as a senior, Jason was by far the best player that I had on the team. And my number one go-to man was Jason Sasser. And when we would go to him and when people were doubling him and all that, he would always find an open man. That's what I mean by sharing the ball.
Thank
He
you.
didn't just try to force the ball up. His main thing was to win the game. And
Correct.
although he knew he was the best player, and the players knew he was the best player. All the coaching staff knew he was the best player. So that's why I mean about him sharing the ball it up when I really didn't want him to give it up, but he did. But he did a great job in finding.
No, that's what I figured. So can I add on Jermaine now, or do you
You
want to?
slick, Jason. You slick.
Can I add
Go
on?
ahead.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah, Gory, I heard you making that point, and Jermaine was kind of like against it, but this is what I want him to know. And we talked about this. I think I shot at the high school level. I was averaging probably my senior year about 30 points a game, shooting at 68% from the field.
Right.
So when you say 68% from the field, that means over 50%, way over 50%. So what Gory did was, Gory came in with more of an offensive mindset. We still play defense. But his thing was, and I'll never forget this. He said 2015, 2015, 2015. I'm like, yeah. And then he explained, he said, we score 20 every quarter. We keep them to 15 every quarter. We went
by 20. Yeah, we went by 20.
We went by at least 20 every game. I love that philosophy. So I bought in all the way. Actually, when Gory took over, he came in. We had just won the state championship the year before. So Gory came in. We had a senior led squad, mainly Jason Walton, Keelan Haney. I don't want to miss any names, but Dwayne Jefferson, Brandon Jones, Jeremy McLean. Again, I don't want to miss any names, but that whole class, we had a really, really good team, and we were number one in the state, picked to win the state championship again, and we ended up failing in that. So that next year, my senior year coming back, some of the guys, we didn't have that type of stature as far as basketball guys. A lot of our guys were top football Division I guys, which still were great athletes. They still played basketball really well, but we didn't have like a lot of just basketball guys that were going to play college at the next level. Most of our guys were top-rated football guys. So what Gory did is he put the ball in my hands, and like I was telling him, unless you had a really good, solid double team, a triple team, I was getting a shot up, and I'm shooting 68%. So any coach wants to put the ball in players that shoot high percentages. And what Gory is saying, just don't want anybody shooting the ball. That's what all coaches do. I even do that at Red Oak. We have a thing where we have certain levels who can shoot threes, who can't shoot threes based on their percentages in games and based on their percentages in practice. We also take stats during practice. So if guys say, oh, I can shoot the three, coach, or their mom or dad say, well, my son can shoot threes, my son can do this. I'm like, well, we chart shots in practice. We may shoot 100 threes. And if he's only making 15 threes and 20 threes out of 100, he can't really shoot the ball that well. But if you got people shooting over 40% from the trade line, I want that guy getting an open look every time. So when Gory said I was willing to shut the ball, that means that I wanted to win so bad that if they double teamed me good enough, if the double team came where I didn't have a split, I was a willing passer because I knew that all my teammates had to do is just knock down open shots. And that's all you wanted your teammates to knock down these open shots. And I told Jermaine this the other day, I think I don't know if we talked about that game yet, but some games I would throw it to Jermaine and the other guys, and I would be on them to hit the shot, because if they didn't hit the shot, then it was a chance that I wouldn't pass it back to them. So that part is true, Jermaine. That part is true. If you wide open shot, that part is true. So that's all. So y'all can take over. I just wanted to finish up on that thought.
No, good. And we appreciate both you guys, because this, we're going to skip all the other stuff that we normally do. We're going to go to the YouTube. And so now it's a Q&A. And my first question is, you heard the two names that my pops, he put out there. He said that you and Ricky Pierce is two of the best players that he have ever coached. He didn't really just say which one. I know Ricky, but both of them he treats like family. So how much do Coach Johnson really mean to you? I know, but I want the listeners to know. I know how much my pops mean to you and the family mean to you or whatnot. You was at the 70th birthday party, but I want to elaborate how much of an impact he was on your life as a
Well,
coach.
very fortunate. When I went into Kimball, I was under the great Jimmy Tubbs, and Jimmy Tubbs was more of a just defensive type of coach. Everything was defense, defense, defense. Let us play a little bit, but not too much offensively. But we had guys good enough to do it. And then when Coach Johnson came in, I had already heard about Coach Johnson. As far as where he had been, I had already did some research on him also because I was about to transfer anyway to another school. People don't know this, but I was about to transfer because we had a new coach coming. I didn't know who was going to be the coach. I didn't know if we were going to click, and I knew that my junior and senior year was going to be very vital and important for me moving forward of my goal of playing college basketball. So when Goree came, my dad, they knew him. A lot of my dad's friends knew who he was. A lot of people spoke highly of him, and they said, "Oh no, Jay, you need to stay. He's going to be really good for you." So when he came in, Goree had to deal with just the issues of coming in as a new coach, senior led team. We're very stuck in our ways and stubborn in our ways, So he did a great job that year. But then the next year, it was my senior year, and Goree really took me in, as a son. Yeah, that's true, Jermaine. He took me in as a son, Jermaine. He always messes with me saying that we're brothers, but we are really brothers because that's how Goree treated me. Him and his wife, very gracious, opened their home up to me, just shared things with me. And one thing I appreciated about Goree outside of basketball was a dude, just a cool, smooth dude. And he was tall like I was tall, just like my old man was tall, suited and booted, coming in with all this type of fashion, the hats and everything. And I just remembered, like, man, this dude is a sharp dude, very sharp as far as educationally, and just understood life. So it was like another person there just really looking out for me. So I was really fond of Goree again, and his wife. And when I went to college, Goree had gave me one of his legendary, I don't know if it's felt tip, nice woven hats. I had got the trench because of him, like the long trench coat. And when I went to school, I dressed suit and tie, knew how to put on the suit and tie. So Goree just showed me a lot of different things, and I just really appreciated it about him. And then, moving down the line, my younger brother was able to come through and play under him, and then also my cousin Frederick Campbell was able to come and play under him, and then a lot of friends got a chance to play under him.
I didn't know Coach Fred was your cousin.
Yeah.
So where did you play? So where did you play college ball at, Coach Saz, and then how long did you play in the NBA?
So let me answer that, Jay. Okay. Let me tell you the story on Jason there for us going to college. Jason and I sit down and we talk. I said, Jason, I say, you want to go to school where people really want you, and that you'll be happy. So it was a guy named James Dickey. Was at Texas Tech. He called me one day about Jason. Yeah, I said he's a great. He said, well, what do you think he did in college? What position he play? I said, Coach, I said, it's gonna really be up to the coach wherever he go. I said, because for me, I got him playing inside. He's about the best thing I have inside, so I got him playing inside. I said, but he can play outside too. So he started coming to Kimball watching our practice, and he saw Jay. He was almost there every day, kind of watching Jay, And I told Jason, I said, Jason, I think Texas Tech really wants you, man. I said, if I was, I think that's where I would go. So Jason, he was a guy. He always was listening, and he never said no. And he just went from there. And next thing I know, Jason was at Texas Tech. So I'm gonna let him take it from there. Now, something else. He promised me. He said, I said, now how long you think Jason will start? He said, well, I don't know about starting, but I said, well, how many minutes can you guarantee me he'll play in a game? He said, I can guarantee you 15 minutes. I said, okay. I said, I'll tell him that, and we'll go from there. So go ahead, Jason. I'm gonna tell you the rest of it after you finish.
So your original question is like where I end up going to school. I end up going to Texas Tech, but originally, back in that time, man, Texas is still a football state, but we really didn't get a lot of basketball really didn't get a lot of love from Texas and the legislators and how they legislated the rules as far as basketball. Now it's wide open. We couldn't go to basketball camps, certain like Nike camps and all these camps for the exposure as far as basketball. If we did go to some of the camps, we couldn't get the gear. Like we always had to give our gear back. All these other people from New York, California, these are little things that people didn't know. The people that's our age and our generation, they know like it was just bad for basketball in Texas. But yet we had some of the best basketball players in Texas. So all of these colleges would take our players and just move out of the state of Texas. Larry Johnson's, all the top players would just go out of the state. So in my mind, I would say, you know what? We good enough to where I wanted to do something like Michigan, like the Fat Five. I wanted to get like 5 or 6 of the top players in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I tried to talk to some of my friends and convince them to do it. But, they really wasn't seeing the vision and go to a Texas school and let us know that, hey, man, we got the athletes here to win a national championship just here in Texas. So nobody was willing to do that. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go to the ACC then myself. ACC at that time was the #1 conference in the nation. I originally committed to North Carolina State. I said, well, my goal is to go play Division I basketball, but I also want to play in the NBA. Me going out there to the ACC, getting maximum exposure, being on TV all the time, I knew that I had that opportunity to do that. So I actually originally committed to North Carolina State. And then going back and forth with the coach out there, my dad, me, and the coach, he was kind of giving me some different type of vibes because I've been a leader my whole life, and I talk to adults when I was like 17, 18, but I talk to people like I talk to anybody. Like I respect them, but I'm going to share what I believe. Like what's going on when I come out there, I know what I can do. And he was kind of just being kind of like iffy, and I said, I don't move like that. I'm not built like that. You got to be straight up with me. Now, if you lie to me, you lie to me. If I get out there and you lie to me, I'll be on the next thing smoking, going somewhere else because I was serious about my business like that. But he was kind of being iffy. So I reached back out to a couple of more colleges I was getting recruited by, and I was #1 in the state of Texas as far as the best basketball player out of the state of Texas, Mr. Basketball, all that. So I had my choice of schools, but Texas Tech, James Dickey, Gorey, I don't know if you remember Doc Sattler, all those guys, they stayed on me. So I decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and stay in Texas. And I think Texas Tech probably had won 5 games that previous year. I said, I'm gonna go here and put them on the map, and we're gonna bring Texas basketball up. And that's exactly what we did. My senior year, we had a national championship team. We ended up losing the Sweet 16 to Allen Iverson, finishing like 30-2 that year. We lost 2 games that year, finished top seven in the nation that year. And again,
you played against Iverson.
Yeah, we lost Sweet 16, 1996. Let me go ahead and say that. That's my NBA draft. 96 best draft class ever. So, we ended up losing to AI, which that AI was my partner back then. I think he was a sophomore, so he had came out early. But, that's what happened at the college level. And you asked me something about like the old school, new school. I can take that on. I just let somebody else talk. But then when y'all come back to me, I definitely can answer that.
No, I'm all ears today, man. I'm just kind of sitting back, asking questions. I'm learning. I got my notepad out, my iPad out, and taking notes. Jermaine already know how I feel about the old school and new school. So, there's some names I'm gonna throw out that he's gonna be like, boy, whatever, get out. So I'm just learning.
Okay, we're in Throwback Thursday. We're in Big Throwback Thursday. Anybody who's out there listening on our show, we have 2 special guests on our first Throwback Thursday. We got Jason Sasser, former Kimball Knight, Texas Tech, and also former NBA and overseas player. Am I correct, Jay? And he also does a lot of great things on the streets. He's also in ministry and also uplifting and rebuilding kids' lives. Then we also have former coach Gorey Johnson in the UIL Hall of Fame, 2-time state champion, former coach of Jason Sasser, myself, and also Ricky Pierce and some other guys like Mookie Blaylock, etc. We just under here. Throwback Thursday. We're just sitting there in the lounge right now. Today is about the lounge. We're not going to talk about a lot of news that's going on because it's not too much. DeMarcus Lawrence is out for 6 to 8 weeks. We know that. How much that's going to hurt the Cowboys. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But we're going to continue to go back on this chat. I'm going to leave it up to you, T. Will. It's on you.
Okay.
You ask some questions. I lived it. I lived this stuff. So I know everything they're talking about is the truth.
Yeah, I was
Go
talking
ahead,
about, he said that he's the youngster on the podcast. When did you actually graduate? What year did you graduate?
2007.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
2007.
2007. Yes, sir. Okay.
I'm always gonna say my class was the best class to come through Texas.
Well, yeah, that's always up for debate and argument. I'm not gonna argue it today, but yeah, we would have to write down some names. I had to see what you got going on, what you're working with. But as far as the old school, new school, it's always going to be a difference. I think these guys now are a lot more skilled as far as skill because they do a lot of skill work more so. But back in our day, we're a lot more basketball. Our IQs were higher because we played more meaningful basketball, not like AAU, like they just playing games now. Now we actually went to the parks. We actually played every day. We had to play with the older guys. Older guys would tell you how to play basketball, how to make certain passes, post-entry passes, different type of passes. They would get on you. So we just played basketball and learned the game from a lot of the older guys. So that's one main difference. The skill, yeah, they're more skilled than us, but if you can't transfer those skills into game-like situations, the skills really don't matter. Like at halftime, you'll see they have a halftime performance that come out like NBA games. You'll see about 50 kids. They all got these balls dribbling, doing all these type of dribbling drills and tricks and all this. But if you take those same kids and put them on a basketball court in a live game, they won't be able to get those shots off. They won't be able to get to certain spots because it's different. So that's the major difference to me as far as the skill level. They're a lot more skilled, got a lot more different skill type things. But mentally, they're different also to the point where they're a lot more engaging. Like Goree, yeah, he was my coach. I loved him, but I wouldn't call him Goree every day. Text, we didn't have text phones and cell phones, but I wasn't calling him on his landline every day, asking him certain things. I want to have that connection. Today's player is a lot more engaging. They want you to be involved. So if a player texts you, you have to text them back. Now you have to call, you have to talk to them because it's just different. They want that. They want that and more relational as far as to their coaches, want to know things. Back in the day, a coach can tell you to run through a brick wall. You would just run 100 miles an hour and try to run through the brick wall. Nowadays, they tell a kid to do something. Hey, run through this brick wall. First question is always, why, coach? That doesn't make sense. If I run through the brick wall, then I'm going to maybe break my, it's so you have to be a lot more patient. You have to explain more. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just different. So the coaches that can't adjust to the newer generation, they got to get out of coaching because they're not going to last. You got to be able to relate to these kids and where they are. It's just.
So we talked about yesterday. We had Coach Andrew. We had Coach Drew yesterday. We was talking about, keeping these kids busy. I know, Jay, you and I talked about this a lot, about keeping kids busy, making sure things go and whatnot.
Can y'all still hear me? I don't know if y'all still hear me. Someone called me on my cell phone, broke me up. I was able to change up. That's basically it.
Back in the day, when we was playing for Kimball.
I don't hear nobody. Can y'all still hear me? Am I still in?
Yes, we got you. When we was playing for Coach Johnson, my dad, Coach Goree Johnson, it was only three. That's what I was trying to explain to you, Trey. It was only 3 kids per team back in the day can play with each other. And so it was up to the high school coaches, and I'll let my pops, he can elaborate how he chose who go play on this team or that team or whatnot. But back in the day, it was only 3 teams. 3 kids can play on these AAU teams. Now, you can put a whole Kimball team together, a whole Mansfield Timberview team together. So just kind of.
I cut you off, but I think you lost Jason.
He logged
getting
out
back
because
on.
I don't think he can hear us. I think he logged out. There you go. He come right back in. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
elaborate on Jason's back. Okay, cool. Jason, remember we just used to have to play 3 to a team back in Slam and Jam, BCI, etc. Now, because we was talking about this Monday when we have our youth sports deal, this whole segment is built on y'all. So this whole day is on y'all. As long as you guys want to go, because these voices want to know we have a former coach, we have a former great player, and also a coach, and a former player, that used to play basketball back in the day. But we want you guys to elaborate how this thing is changing, how it's changing. Because we had a guy yesterday, one of your former teammates, who was saying how much you guys didn't have the resources in Mansfield in youth sports, right? And y'all didn't have the slam and jams come out there back then, or the BCIs come out back there at that time, or all these AAU. It wasn't AAU teams back there. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Back when me and Jason was playing, and some other guys who's probably going to be looking at this, we didn't have all those tools either. Our high school coaches put us in spring league, fall league, and then they built all-star teams, right, Jason?
Well, yeah, they would take the top. You probably have 2 or 3 teams. They'll take the top players from 2 or 3 teams, and then that would be your AAU squad or your squad that would go play in the tournaments. We still had the Gasso here, but we would go play maybe in 2 or 3 tournaments during the summer to get looks. But
not like in Vegas, like the Vegas up today. Y'all go to Vegas. So you mean to tell me back then it was like kind of like real select basketball where you come, you can't really pay your fee and then pay a team entry fee and go out there.
No. You had to be one of the top in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to make one of those traveling teams, and that was.
But check this out, Trey. Hold on, real quick, Jason. But check this out, Trey. And I'm gonna let my pops he can elaborate on this, because the coaches used to say, I want so and so and so and so to play together. Because remember, you getting what I'm missing. We can only play 3 to a team. Am I correct? In the league, right?
That was in the spring league.
Let me clear that up. Let me talk on that a little bit. Matter of fact, I'm one of the one that on the committee during that time with the state to help get that approved. We talked about that, and when it was just you can only have 3 team. And what we used to do, we used to pick the 3 we want to go stay together to play together on what team. And before I got out of coaching, matter of fact, before I won the state championship, that was approved that you could keep your team together, but you could not coach them. So what I did, I kept my team together and sent them to tournaments, but someone else coached them. And at the time, my oldest son from Roosevelt, I let him coach him because he did not work at Kimmel, and he was eligible to coach him. So that's how we did that. And I'll never forget, first year we won the first state championship. From September up until time to start regular season practice, those guys had played a total of 18 games. And how they did that, we would go to tournaments, and we would always win the tournament. We was always playing 3 or 4 games in that tournament. And we had played 18 games before we even started our regular practice. So that's how that got started.
So Trey, that goes to let you know, Trey, where the level of AAU basketballers came now. You just heard it. So, we don't have to have them phone conversations. And, for me, you just heard it, how everything is so different right now on how all this stuff just got started. Because you asked this question on Monday on the first show. You said, hey, how about people disrespecting the little guys? It was never no little guy back then. It was only like 3 organizations who ran leagues. It was Slam and Jam with who was it? Jay Horace Coleman and who was the other one?
Steve Land, Rob Wright,
and those guys. And then you had Bill McKinney and Will Sumner at BCI.
Yep,
and then you had Fort Worth had Tom Rogers over there in Fort Worth. Tom Rogers. Then you had Mitch Malone. You had Mitch Malone up in the north. So that was the 4 organizations who was being able, as what you're doing now, a lot of what the other people who are listening now do, is called AAU basketball. Like Jay said, and by the way, Dallas won a national championship that was played on ESPN in Las Vegas. Am I correct? The
Yes.
Nike. Yep.
We won. Our 1990. That was our 1990 squad. That was our big older squad. We were still the youngest, youngins. But yeah, we won the national championship. I think we played against. We was playing
You
against
and Jay
Detroit.
Walk was on that team.
Jay Walk was on that team. Yes, Charles Gentry was on that team. Both of them were on that team. And we won the national. So we beat the best in the whole United States. I think Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, they had Michigan teams. So we still had the thing. It was just limited. Now, the thing today with the AAU is, what I do like about AAU is some of the guys that may not be the top guys, now the second tier, third tier guys that still can play, now they get all this maximum exposure. See, I was a high school coach. I'm not against AAU basketball. I know how it helps and gives exposure to kids to where they can get opportunities to go play college ball, whether it's Division I, Division II, Division III, junior college, community college. I'm all about the kids getting opportunities. Right. So that part is good. Now, the other part to it is some of the kids are still not good enough to maybe play at that time, but you still have developmental teams. So you still have them getting better. They may get good enough to play on a high school team or start. They may get good enough to be able to go play college. So I love the whole AAU basketball thing. It's just the point that the parents sometimes are misguided and delusional on really what it takes to be able to play at that level. And it's not their fault. They just don't know. So I always enjoyed explaining to the parents how it really is, because I experienced it. And it's no hate, it's no slot. It's no hate. It's just like, if you don't know, you don't know.
But how do you handle the parents? I mean, this might be another topic. I don't know. But this is for you, Mr. Gorey. This is for you, Coach Sass. How do you handle the parents that you sit there? That's like you guys, y'all trying to educate me, but you see, like right now, I'm all ears. But how do you try to educate a parent where they keep telling you, well, no, my son did this, my daughter did this, da 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 da, and you steady trying to tell them, look, ma'am, I'm speaking on your behalf. Like, look, ma'am, I played at Texas Tech. I played in NBA, but they still trying to tell you how they should be played. I mean, how do you handle parents like that, the dad or the moms?
Hold on, Jay. Can I just real quick? I'm gonna let you answer that. First of all, just because you played the game on a high level, don't mean you know how to coach the game. First.
Correct. No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
But no, a lot of guys are using that right now. Just because I played overseas or I played in the NBA, I know how to run a program. You know, it's a difficult deal. I'm going from a person who ran a program. Now, Jason, my pops, they can answer everything else, but I'm sick and tired of everybody throwing them labels like I'm so and so. Come play with me. Pay $140 a month or $140 a week.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that.
Kids not learning nothing. Isn't that right? I mean, everybody on this panel know that's wrong.
Well, it's the pendulum. The pendulum goes both ways, Jermaine. You got people that, because it's hard. Again, it's hard when you're a player and you're a high player, play at a high level, you're really good. It's hard to really coach players that don't have your type of tenacity, they don't have your skill set. So you got to really be patient and want to coach. That's why coaching is not meant for everybody. So all the great players can't just coach. I remember, and I don't want to name drop, one of the top college coaches, and I'm not gonna say his name, but he asked me, he said, Saz, man, you were such a great player and this and that. How are you coaching high school basketball? I say I had to learn how to be patient and go into coaching like I didn't know nothing. I went into coaching like I've never played the game before. I'm eating everything up. So that pendulum, yeah, just because you play don't mean you can coach. But guess what? Just because you didn't play don't mean you can't coach either. Like you got some coaches that have never played or have played at high levels. If they really immerse themselves into the game, if they really listen to other people that may have played, they can also become really good coaches and this and that. So the pendulum goes both ways, because sometimes people that play, they'll try to down people that haven't played. And then sometimes people that haven't played will try to down people that played. No, it goes both ways. You have to really immerse yourself into coaching. It's totally different from playing.
Coaching, yeah, it's totally different. I'm talking about, it's kind of like what you're saying, like, and I'm going to let Mr. Gorey chime in on this. What I'm saying is, it's like this. You know how like in the Gasso, they have the NBA division where it's all those 6'7", 6'8", whatever. And then you have the NCAA, which is mainly some of the, like you said, the D2, maybe a couple of D3 NAI tiers, right? And the NCAA, that division is mainly like 6'5s and below, but then the NBA, you won't have like the 6'7s and up. And you got some parents who their sons, and like you said, they can play whatever. They might be 5'8", 5'9", but they swear up and down just because they average 20 points at 1A, they think they can go do the same thing over here on this other side of the fence. And even though you might not know how to manage the talent, but you know what they look like. Knowing what they look like versus managing, I know those are two different things. Correct. So what I'm saying is, like you says, you know what next level look like. You might, I'm just speaking in hypothetically, in just terms. You might not know how to manage, what they look like, but you know what they look like.
Well, I do know how to manage, and I know what they look like. I
know you probably know how to manage. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah. You're a different person.
What I'm telling you is, let's get a coach's point of view. Well, I mean,
you just logged on.
So let me until Goree come back on. Let me just say this. I'm gonna answer your question. What you said about the difference, what the parents, how you handle the parents in my generation. Goree can tell you how he handled the parents when he was coaching. In my generation, with these parents, again, some of them, not all of them, some of them are great parents, but a lot of them are very delusional on really what it takes. And again, they love their babies, so I understand they love their babies, but they can't separate. Sometimes they can't separate their love for their babies compared to truth. So the way I get away with it, I just tell the truth. I tell the truth on my assessment, how I feel. Me and my coaches then made determinations, and that's it. And I say, listen, if you disagree with what I'm saying, you're entitled to that. You are the parent. I want what's best for your kid. If you feel that your kid needs to go to a different program, or you feel this, that's fine. But it didn't happen to me about 6 times. I didn't have about 6 kids leave. Not one time have I not been correct, and the parents have come back and say, Coach Sasser, I'm sorry, you were right, this and that. That don't give me no gratification. I know I was right, but this kid has been hurt now, because if he would have stayed in this program, it wasn't like we wasn't at the time a top tier program where we got all these 4 stars and 5 stars. And you got kids trying to transfer to these other schools. They get cut the first. These are some of the examples. They got cut the first week. Some of them never seen the court. Some of them kept transferring. And I told them, stay in this program. They're going to be able to play. Eventually may get opportunity. But some of the parents just didn't believe that. So I just speak truth. And if they disagree, they have the right to disagree with my assessments of their kids.
By the way, I had Ty Weaver years ago, by the way, too. Just to let you know that.
This is Throwback Thursday. We're still ascending. This is a special Thursday. We have 2 greats. By the way, you see it on the screen. We got former hooper Jay Sass, and we got former coach and the PVI UIL Hall of Fame. I'm gonna ask Coach Johnson this, because Coach Sasser / Johnson, he's been elaborating a lot of stuff, but we're gonna ask Coach Johnson. How do you feel about everything you heard all of us talk about on the new school? I mean, understand this. Give the viewers the picture from Centerville, Texas, your role from Centerville, Texas, all the things that we know. That's why a lot of people want to know, what do y'all talk about? What do your pops talk about to y'all about his role? Because we talk about AAU. Y'all didn't have AAU back when you was coming out of Centerville.
No, but let me. I want to elaborate on that question that y'all put on Jason a while ago about NBA players being able to coach and all this blah blah blah. Let me elaborate on that before I go into that. Jason was definitely right. You need to be done play the game to it'll help make you a better coach, but you don't have to be done play the game to coach. It's great coaches that have not played the game that turn out to be great coaches. And let me give you one for an example. James Mays. James Mays never was a great player. I don't know if he even played the game, but he was around my program, and he wanted to learn the game. And he should just sit around us and and watch. Come in the gym, sit around and watch. Later on, he went to South Oak Cliff, and he worked under my assistant, Rodney Reed, as an assistant, and he learned how to coach. And James Mays wound up winning more state championships than any of us. And that just shows you a perfect example right there. He studied the game, and he learned how to be a coach. and he's still a great coach right now at South Oak Cliff High School. So I'd want to elaborate on that first. Going back to Centerville High School during my day, well, it was way back in the day before Jason Sassy wasn't as good as it is now. But that was before integration, and blacks had to play with black schools.
Slide your phone over so we see. There you go.
Blacks had to play with black schools, and white had to play with white. And we didn't get a chance to play in an integrated situation like kids have today. And so it was altogether different game, and it's just no comparison. We didn't get a chance to play AAU ball. After the season was over, basketball was locked up, and you either go to baseball or go home. And that's just where it was when I was coming along. We had to go play at home on our courts at home, which was in that dirt ball, and that's why when I was playing, there wasn't a whole lot of dribbling because you couldn't dribble the ball in the dirt. You had to pass the ball. And that's why the coach never did have a problem with us passing the ball at school, because that's how we learned how to play the game. So it's just a different day.
A different day. I think that's all.
We talked about HBCUs. We always try to give HBCUs love. I know it's one HBCU back in the day. You went to Bishop College. Your experience from Centerville, Texas. What was your experience at Black College? I can't call it historic because it's Paul Quinn. But what was your experience being at Bishop College?
Okay, when I went to Bishop College, I never forget. My mother and father carried me to Centerville, catch that bus. And when I got on that bus, before I got on that bus, she went in her pocket, her purse, and gave me $10. She said, "Son, this is all I got. Go do your best." I said, "Okay, Mom, I will." So when I got on that bus, there was guys on there from Houston, Jack Yates and Wheatley and Cashmere and Washington and all those big schools down there in Houston. And when I got on that bus, all those guys were sitting back there together. During those days, blacks had to go to the back. So they all were sitting back there. And I went back there, and one of the guys said, "Hey, man, where you going?" I said, "I'm going to Bishop College." They said, "That's where we're going." They said, "Why don't you save yourself some money and get off right now and save yourself some money?" But that's where we're going. So they were looking at me kind of from a little old small town. But fast forward, you had to try out to make the team before you get a scholarship. It was half scholarship, but you had to try out. So it was a 10-day trial period. And I never forget, we all were sitting in that room that day when coach was finna call out the 15 guys that made the team. And he got down to the 10th man. My name still wasn't called. My heart was beating so fast, I thought I would have a heart attack. And he got to that 12th man. He called Goree Johnson. Oh, Lord. So he got down to the 15th man. He never did call that guy name that told me that I should get off the bus, and save myself some money. So after got through the 15th man, I looked back there. The guy's name was Toad. He was from Booker T. Washington. I never forget it. I said, "Say, Toad." I said, "Hey, man, he didn't call your name." I said, "But I need you to do something for me." He said, "What's that?" I said, "When you pass through Centerville, tell everybody I said hello." So I'll never forget that. So that was the story on me making it to Bishop. But after I made the team at Bishop, first game we played in Grambling tournament. And it was a guy named Willis Reed. Never forget that. I didn't know anything about no Willis Reed. And but Willis Reed was All-American. Anyhow, we played Grambling, and I was defending Willis Reed and going up for a rebound. I messed around and elbowed Willis Reed. And we were going back down the floor. Big Willis Reed ran up behind me and patted me on the butt and said, "Hey, let's keep the ball clean." I didn't know what he was talking about. So a guy named Fraser, he said, "Hey, man, let me tell you what he's saying. What he's saying, don't you elbow him no damn more." That's what he said. That's what he said.
Willis Reed, explain to some of the young cats who's listening, who is Willis Reed and Fraser?
Willis Reed went on to play for the New York Knicks. And Fraser, I don't know where he went and played somewhere
Are you talking about Walt Frazier or another Fraser?
No, it was another Fraser. It was another Fraser. No, it was another Fraser. He went on and played somewhere. But that was the story on my college days. starting out. I just went on from there. But, I wasn't I was a great shooter in high school, but when I got to college, there was so many great shooters. I stopped concentrating on that. All I was concentrating on was playing defense and rebounding. And that's how I made the team. That's how I played through my college career.
So we're gonna get ready to start descending a little bit, and before we close our stuff out, we appreciate both you guys. I mean, it's been very supportive. We bring it back later when we have boys basketball, right, Trey? But
Yeah.
I guess this is a Q&A. You got any final questions for these two greats?
Nah, man, I just appreciate you guys joining and coming on. Things like that, man. I think, hey, Mr. Coach Gorey and Coach Sass, like, again, man, learned a lot today. I did not know Sass dropped 60, but I learned that, and then
Well, no. I was dropping 40s and 50s and all that, like more per game.
You talking about the dumb ball game, man? Stop it, man.
Okay.
We didn't have what's the thing they have now? What's the thing they have now? Baller's Life. Yeah, we didn't have Baller's Life back then.
Yeah.
Hey, I got one story where I got both of them on there. I know both of them remember this story. We was at Kimball. That was my junior year, sad senior year. We played Lincoln High School. I know both of y'all remember this. And this is how rivalries can kind of go overboard. We had one of my former players. He passed away my senior year. Byron Norton got into it. I think I can't remember his name, but little guard. But the gym was packed. It was PC Cobbs, by the way. So you see, Trey, you used to Ellis Davis. We used to play at Sprague and PC Cobbs. And
which is now Joe Lewis.
Game. Huh? Go ahead.
Is PC Cobb, did they rename it to Joe Lewis?
Yeah.
The stadium right there by the prep part.
Joe Lewis football field.
Joe Lewis football field.
Okay.
But anyway, it was jam-packed. And, if you go to PC Cobb, if you're the visitor team, you're sitting on the home team side. So Lincoln fans, besides my mother and some of our parents, like Jason parents and all our parents, just sitting right there. It was all Lincoln people. Then the whole other side, because we're in South Dallas, is Lincoln. And it's a big brawl. So, Jason, Coach Johnson, y'all elaborate what y'all thought that night, because that is historic right there to me. Good game, too, by the way. Jason, you remember that night?
Yeah, it was a real big rivalry. Lincoln was really, really good at the time. We were really good at the time. And we decided to play. We went over to sunny South Dallas and played the Lincoln Tigers over at PC Cobb. And again, like you say, back in the day, man, the games they were packed, man. They were packed wherever we played for the most part. And just got into a little brawl on the court and fans, and just it started becoming unruly. And again, we're in the middle of South Dallas now, so eventually they had to just shut everything down. I think we ended up finishing the game. The police had to just make sure they escorted everybody, Kimball fans, Lincoln fans, and then we just had to be we had to have a police escort to leave the building.
Dang, was that bad?
Oh yeah.
We had to wait for one to the building before we could leave.
Yeah.
So hey Trey, we're getting a player and a coach. So we're getting two coaches and a player. So I'm gonna ask my daddy, what did you feel that?
Hey, was it similar to the we joke about it. Was it similar to the night where because the other kid he brought a weapon in there, that gunshots, but when everybody started taking off,
we didn't know. Nobody knew nothing. Nobody knew.
No. No guns. Nobody shot a gun or anything. It just started getting unruly where they started.
Oh, okay, just brawling and fight. Gotcha.
And on us, like on the court, doing stuff towards us on the court, So we that's why we had to just separate for a second.
Well, me as a coach, I was kind of used to things like that, big games like that, and things happening like that. I mean, when I was at Garland, we just had to go play Wilma Hutchin at Wilma Hutchin. And the gym be packed and stuff like that, and things like that was happening. When with Ricky Pierce now, people wanted to try to get to him and all that type of things, and I was kind of sort of used to that. And cause I used to go play. I used to take my team to Roosevelt and played in Roosevelt gym. I never forget that. And one night we went to Roosevelt gym and a little brawl broke out in there. So the next morning when I get to school, he said, "Man, your principal looking for you. Want you to come down to his office. Paging you to come down to his office." So I go down to the office and the athletic director, Homer Johnson, and my principal was sitting in there. And athletic director said that, Coach Johnson, you know, you're doing a fine job out here. We like what you're doing, but you just need to be more careful where you take your parents. What he was saying, don't you take those parents back down in the Roosevelt gym anymore. That's what he was saying, you know. I got to mess with what he was saying. But, you know, things like that, I was just used to playing in big games, and I wasn't afraid to play anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to upgrade my
team. I'm not putting no one on the spot. I know we had a deal like 3 or 4 years ago at, was it Duncanville and DeSoto? And you know, Coach lost his job, and Coach almost potentially lost his job. You know, do you think schools should make rulings on that? I mean, you don't have to answer it. I know I'm not trying to put nobody on the spot, but you know, it's only so much a coach can do when situations like that.
No, it's as a coach, you can't fault the coach for people fighting in the gym, stuff like that. That's, you know, you got to look at your security, your security department and your administration. Coach has no control of that. His job is to handle that team and control his team out there on the court and the guy that's on his bench. That's all the coach can do. But for his people, you know, coming out of stands, or for his people shooting guns in the stand, coaches has no control of that.
Jason?
Well, yeah, like Gory saying, my main thing was steady putting into my players' mindset a certain type of attitude, a certain type of professionalism. I don't care how mad you get. I don't care if we win by 20 or they beat us by 20. You guys have to know how to, you know, control your emotions. And that's something that has to be taught to some. You have to teach that to some players. Some players get it. They get it. They know it, whether they get it from home, whether they've been taught it before. But some players don't. They just don't know it. So you have to teach them how to act in certain situations. And sometimes, you know, just attitudes, emotions, we all human. They can get up to the point where you make a mistake. But again, sometimes kids make mistakes. Adults make mistakes. But these are high school kids, and sometimes they make mistakes. So when they do make that mistake, you definitely got to discipline them accordingly, so they won't make that mistake again. To understand that, hey, you just can't do you can't do those type of things because you're jeopardizing your team, you're jeopardizing your school, you're jeopardizing your family. It's just not the type of behavior you want your kids to exhibit.
Well, we're gonna get ready to land thing in a second, and you know, a special show with special people. We're gonna go overboard and we're gonna definitely bring both of you guys back. Do any of you guys got any final thoughts? We're gonna start with you, Jason.
No, I just appreciate you guys having me. I'm in the middle of a lot of different things right now, so I just wanted to take some time out just to make sure I get on. But I appreciate you guys. Good seeing everybody. Thank you guys for doing this. Just wanting to go back and get some old history. That's always good. And it's good seeing my man over there, Gory. I'm still coming by the house. I'm going to spend about 10 to 14 hours going through all those old tapes because I don't have no video. So we got to pull those VHS tapes out. We got to get them out. We got to get them digital.
I might have some of them still here.
All right.
I want to say that I appreciate you guys having me on the show to share some things with the young coaches. But what I want to tell all the young coaches, you know, get control of your team, keep your team under control. Don't let your players, Joe Jack, going back and forth with people in the stand. I've seen some of the players here for games that I have attended here. That's not good. The great athletes, teach them to get better. But the main thing, treat all your players the same. Don't show a difference. I don't care if he's a superstar. And Jason can tell you this. I treated Jason just like I treated other players. I didn't let him.
No. Let me stop. No.
Jermaine might think he might.
Yeah, hey, Jason, what did he say? Give it to him.
Yeah, he might think I did because
I live with him.
there was a bunch of juniors I had those bunch of juniors, him and Tamel and
Marvin and Roscoe.
yeah, Roscoe and all of them. They all thought that I should treat them the same way I was treating Jason. Well, I did, but I'm saying I didn't let Jason get away with no more than I let them get away with. That's all I'm saying.
But go read. I wasn't really getting it too much to get away with anyway. I was
Right.
serious about my business. I'm trying to win every game. And
That's
man,
right.
we're not gonna get into those details, but
yeah, there were some juniors we bought up. There were some juniors.
When you say at the hotel, I got you.
There were some juniors we bought up, and we wanted those juniors to understand, hey, you got two seniors here on this team, they're your leaders, and they're gonna lead you guys to be successful. That's all that was. So that's why I may think I treated Jason a little different, but I didn't. I treated them all the same.
You're a Benedict Arnold, man. You're a Benedict Arnold, Jason.
no, I'm not. I'm just serious about winning. And when he say get it to him, all he means is make sure you're able to get the ball to me. And if I can do something with it and score, cool. If not, I'm gonna get it right back to you. So you can shoot your corner three, Jermaine.
I got you. We appreciate you guys going to the show today. We're gonna definitely bring you guys back when the basketball season comes. We got the Go Reed Johnson Classic, Jason. You got your division, so that's probably gonna be one we're going to. You got a division, right? That's the 9th grade division, the Jason Sasser division.
Well,
you know now.
Yeah, I know now.
Right.
Appreciate it.
No doubt. We're gonna always honor the greatness, and we appreciate you guys going. We're gonna do our last final shot thoughts. We appreciate you guys. We'll definitely stay in contact and for later shows, right, Trey?
Yep. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Y'all have a good one.
Later.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
Later.
There you have it. That was Jason Sasser and Gory Johnson. That was a good little show, man. That was a good time, man. Learn some history about Dallas.
I was doing some research. We was going through that. We was talking about the Dunbar teams and how many times Coach Hughes has been into the deal. I'm looking at it. I'm scrolling through you need to look at it. Anybody go to it. It's the Texas Almanac. Basketball.com or something like that. But you can see the history of all the basketball, high school boys basketball championship teams, even the Prairie View, the PVU. See, a lot of these kids don't even know about I know I mentioned that a couple of times about my pops being part of the PVUIL. Just like he was saying, they couldn't even participate in UIL now. You know what I'm saying? So
it was a different time.
It was a different time. So what the Prairie View college system did was they made their own state deal, etc. So, that was mad shout outs to both of them, Jason and my pops Corey Johnson, and then that's the way. Listen, I don't know how we can top this. We gotta get some more guests to top this on Throwback Thursday, right?
Yeah. We'll find some more guests. I gotta go through my list and see if who else we can bring on. But we got a whole week. We got a whole week. Got a whole week to figure it out.
I mean, it's not nothing to figure out. It's too many former athletes want that to be able to tell their stories. I mean, you got people from Headache, and you got people from. I saw Derek Daniels put something out. So. Derek, you listening? I appreciate it. Looking out, I guess he heard Fort Worth Dunbar was going to be talking about Derek Daniels. So, we get people.
Yeah, we got to get a Dunbar. We going to get a Dunbar. I mean, we can get Derek. I heard about Derek Daniels, but matter of fact, I'm going to get that happen. We'll get Derek Daniels on here. We're going to get Germans on here.
It's going to happen. And we're
going to get Germans. And then we got to get one of the first females who dunked the basketball right here, Brooklyn Pope from Dunbar. So, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna get Robert Hughes Jr. and we're gonna get the Hall of Famer Coach Hughes too. Maybe they can do it remotely from the great Fort Worth Dunbar and things like that. But we got a lot of things, man. This thing right here, we just built this airport, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We haven't even got flights going.
Yeah. And so it's all good, man. We're gonna get a rocket and roller. We over the time limit today though, Jay. We gotta land this plane, man. Got some practices, got some games I gotta get prepared for. So
got some games. Well, let's go ahead and let's land this plane. Okay, so it is finalized. We are gonna have a sub-varsity, sub-varsity showcase next week at TCC The Hill High School. So, sub-varsities, anybody want to come out? And I believe still got the event this weekend over at Bob Knight. So, I mean, any other things, any other youth sports news, that you have going on?
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. I know Texas Impact and myself, Texas Rise, got something big Columbus weekend. Got some news. I got some news breaking that I want to break, but I told him I would not break it until he gives me the okay about it. But he said first let them break it and we'll talk about it next week. This person got a lot of haters in the area. That's all I'm put. But
well, check this out.
With you sports, man, ain't nothing on my end, man. Hey, if anybody want to come to Mansfield Fieldhouse this weekend, come watch my Texas Rise 5th grade boys play on Sunday, 7:00 p.m. You might want to come see my girls. But 7th grade girls, I'm telling you, man, my 7th grade girls are. We had a good practice last night, man. They're gonna be special. I can tell you that for sure. But that's all I got on my end.
Check this out. I've been rocking all week long different colleges, and I rocked the NBA one day and whatnot. I rock the Texas Longhorns, and I'm not a big Longhorn fan, by the way. I just rock them because they're part of the great state of Texas. Kind of getting into the barbershop talk and not trying to be all over the place because this was, like you said, a great sports show, getting all that great knowledge. But do you really? I'm just kind of switching the script real quick before we land this plane in the next, because this was one of our hour 30 segments, hour and a half. Sometimes when you have guests like that, you got to give them that time for that platform, right? And so we let them have that platform right there. But to close this plane out in the next 8 minutes or so, did you hear this Nicki Minaj stuff that's going on about how she's telling everybody about being vaccinated make your balls or your testicles bust or something like that, and everybody is running with it? Did you hear about that,
Coach? Coach, to be honest, man, with the whole, we went over the vaccination part for about 2-3 days in a row, man. All I can tell people is do what you want to do. I know what I did. Other than that, believe what you want to believe, and you go from there, man. It's no different. Vaccination is no different trying to get somebody to believe in whatever faith or religion that they believe in. You're not going to win with it. So there's no need to, if that's her thoughts, if that's what she said, then cool. I know mine's is still in a good place, so I'm okay.
Given that platform, so we sit up here and we talk about all this other stuff. Now, let's get off of her. But at the end of the day, we have almost been a week going in this thing right here, and I feel pretty good. We're gonna start getting more kids going because just listen to two great coaches, two players, former players, one old school, one new school, or mid school in your situation. But we just listen to that. So we want to be able, if you want us to come to your school practice, your school events, or your events, please contact Trey. You have the information, or you can call 972-814-4622. But you can also email dallaspreps@gmail.com. And Trey, what else?
Dallas DFW Source of Sports. What's your point? They know where they could find me at. It's right. DFW Source of Sports @gmail.com. But hey, Jay, it was a good show, man. We're gonna land this plane, pull up to the gate. Tune in, y'all, tomorrow. We'll have some more good things on Friday. Heading to the weekend. Again, you got NFL tonight. You got high school games tomorrow. But we don't, like I said, we'll dive into that tomorrow.
Duncanville, DeSoto.
Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about Duncanville, DeSoto tomorrow on game day.
I'm gonna tell you this right here. Before we get out, I'm gonna tell you this. I want all our supporters to know it wasn't me today, by the way. It was you. The reason why the plane turned out the gate late. But we'll be sure.
I had a important phone call, baby. I had a important phone call. Hey, I had a important phone call, man. So
all of y'all was part of this one today. Which y'all all
hey, trust me, our fans understand. I can tell you that right now. They understand right now. So
all the blessings. Everybody be safe. Mask up. If you don't want to wear a mask, just be safe and stay clean. Like Trey said, have that. What you say, Trey? The sanitizer.
Yeah, sanitizer, man.
My final thoughts to trade today, as we land this plane, as we descending going through the gate. My final thoughts today is not that. It is, man, if on Throwback Thursday, if time can turn, is if we can turn time back, ask yourself, what would you do different as a player, coach, and just as a person? Is it things that you would do? It's not me to answer. It's up to you to understand, but you can also make up lost time by moving forward. So that's my thoughts today, coach.
Hey, we out. DFW Sports. Peace.